On January 3, 1911, America issued its first postal savings stamps. Calls for a postal savings bank in the United States date back to 1871. At that time, Postmaster General John Cresswell suggested such a system to help raise money for a postal telegraph network. No progress was made at that time, but the debate continued for decades. Then in 1907, a panic made Americans lose faith in private banks. In response, President Theodore Roosevelt began promoting the idea of a postal savings system to help the everyday depositor and communities that didn't have banks. The idea gained support, and Roosevelt's successor, William H. Taft, signed legislation creating the Postal Savings System. Passed on June 25, 1910, the legislation allowed the Post Office Department to establish postal savings depositories for depositing savings at interest with the security of the government for repayment thereof, and for other purposes. In December 1910, a few weeks before the system went into operation, Postal Savings official mail stamps were issued. The stamps were produced for mail pertaining to the business of the U.S. Postal Savings System. Though the Postal Savings System continued for years to come, the official stamps were discontinued in 1914. The system became effective January 1, 1911. The depositories opened on January 3, the same day the first stamps were issued. Under this system, the post office was to redeposit most of the money into local banks, where it earned 2.5% interest. The Postal Savings System then paid 2% interest per year on deposits. The 0.5% of interest was used to pay for the system's operation. The minimum deposit was $1 with a maximum of $2,500. The Postal Savings System was established to serve small investors living in rural communities. Under the program, lower and middle-income individuals were able to deposit funds at their local post office. Postal mail stamps, given as proof of the deposit, were redeemable in the form of credits to postal savings accounts. While banks were initially against the system, they realized it helped to bring a great deal of money out of hiding from mattresses and cookie jars. Postal savings deposits could be made 6 days per week between the hours of 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. The system eventually extended to over 5,000 post offices in 48 states. Deposits to the U.S. Postal Savings Program grew steadily during World War I and the bank failures of the Great Depression. By 1929, $153 million was on deposit and guaranteed by the U.S. government. That figure grew to $1.2 billion during the next decade and peaked at $3.4 billion in 1947. In 1940, 4 new U.S. postal savings stamps were introduced. In addition to a redesigned 10-cent savings stamp, 25-cent, 50-cent, and $1 denominations were issued. The new postal savings stamps featured a bold slanted stripe, and each stamp's denomination was prominently displayed within the vignette or central design. A second series design change accompanied the 1941 introduction of a $5 postal savings stamp. The newly designed stamps depicted a Minuteman and the words "America on Guard." Deposits to the U.S. Postal Savings System declined after World War II. The Post Office Department stopped accepting deposits on April 27, 1966, and officially ended the program the following year.